This is 7 National News, and in our top story, public sector workers in the UAE will be granted a 4-day holiday on the occasion of Eid Al Adha, according to a circular issued by the Federal Authority for Government Human Resources. A report by Emirates news agency WAM stated that holidays for employees of ministries and federal government departments will be from Wednesday, September the 23rd to Saturday, September 26th, with work resuming on Sunday. Separately, the Ministry of Labour announced a 3-day official paid holiday for private sector workers from Wednesday, September 23rd to Friday, September 25th. Eid Al Adha, the latter of the two Eid holidays, is a time when millions of Muslims converge on Mecca for the annual pilgrimage. The National Elections Committee has announced that the final number of candidates in the fray for the 2015 Federal National Council elections is 329 as per the electoral timeframe. A total of 12 candidates withdrew their nominations before the cut-off date of September 14th. The NEC has also announced the extension of the period for submitting applications by candidate representatives until the end of today. This was originally scheduled to conclude with the end of the nomination withdrawal period. All FNC candidates have the right to select their representatives from the electoral authorities in their respective emirates. The NEC has also called on all candidates to abide by the regulations of the electoral campaigns in order to avoid any disciplinary measures or appeals that may be filed by other candidates against them. The much-anticipated GCC Government Social Media Summit, now in its 4th year, kicked off earlier today, with this year's theme leveraging social networks to drive government innovation and create smart cities. The summit continues to be the most important educational and business-driven social media platform for the government sector in the MENA region, which attracts more than 20 industry-leading speakers and more than 250 regional and international communications and social media experts, decision-makers and executives from the government sector. Today's session started with a panel discussion which included a speech by the Chief Corporate Officer of the UAE Space Agency, Sheikh Al Maskari, who shed some light on the agency's plans and goals.
One of our most significant goals at the Space Agency is creating partnerships with other countries, and that requires looking into their creative programs to learn and apply what is useful. As for the creative policy of the space sector, we have been working on it with various academic institutes in the UAE, such as Khalifa University, Sharjah University, Emirates University, and others.
This is the 4th edition of the GCC Government Social Media Summit, as you know, and we're excited to be the summit advisor. Since it was launched in 2012, we have been witnessing a growing interest in the summit from government officials around the region, from UAE and other GCC countries, and outside GCC area indeed.
According to officials, the importance of using social media in government has shot to the top of the agenda across the region following the recent Arab Social Media Influencers Awards. At no other time has social media been more prominent in the GCC, and now is a key turning point for the way governments move forward in their communication strategies. Additionally, due to the positive feedback received on last year's GSMS workshops, this year includes 8 sector-specific interactive and educational workshops led by world-class social media trainers. The workshops include social media for local and federal government, education, tourism, recruitment, financial services, foreign affairs, defence and healthcare.
I am the co-founder of Tourism Currents, and we do online and in-person training in social media, but specifically for tourism and hospitality. So I am leading the tourism track this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon with representatives from GCC countries' tourism offices to talk to them about using social media to market their destination. It is tremendously important that tourism organizations plug into social media because that is how their travelers are sharing travel experiences, and they're doing it on a mobile device all the time before they arrive in the destination, while they're in the destination, and then they share photos and video and experiences after they visited. In fact, just yesterday, there were a whole bunch of people using a Periscope app, which is a live streaming app from a phone. They were in the Burj Khalifa yesterday, live streaming around the world their their experiences in the Burj Khalifa. That's how people are traveling these days, and tourism organizations have got to understand that, support that, and be involved in that kind of storytelling.
I've been invited to come back this time to represent the UK and to talk about how the Ministry of Defence does social media. For us in the UK, social media has become a very important part, not just for communications, but also in the way we work. And not just with our own colleagues and within our own organisation, but with other colleagues around the world. We started very tentatively about 7 or 8 years ago, when it was still quite new, and we were trying out a lot of things. I think we've learned a lot of things in our time. We've developed a different philosophy. So we've moved, first of all, from being a very risk-aware organisation, over-cautious, very sensitive, to an organisation that's a little bit more ambitious and a little bit more adventurous, and trying not just new ways of communicating with people, but new techniques, new tools, new platforms, and that's really worked very well for us. I think you need to be brave enough to learn to fail fast. That's a very important part of the philosophy that's changed, and we've used it more than just recruiting, young soldiers, sailors, and airmen. We've moved to actually make it work for the organisation. So talking to the employees, getting them to engage with very important policies and changes within the organisation, galvanising people to kind of input into, say, maybe changes in how we work, changing our culture, HR processes, all sorts of things. So social media isn't just about telling people what you've done that day in terms of news. It's really about engaging people and getting two-way dialogue and making it really work throughout the whole organisation.
Healthcare professionals in the UAE and from around the region should ensure active pharmacovigilance to ensure a safe medical environment for patients. That's according to Dr. Amin Al Amiri, Assistant Under Secretary for Public Health Policy and Licensing at the UAE Ministry of Health. Dr. Al Amiri stressed the importance of monitoring the effects of licensed medical drugs in his opening remarks. Now, in its 5th year, the conference is being held under the theme Excellence in Pharmacovigilance, with over 200 pharmacists and leaders of regulatory bodies from around the region participating during the opening day. Commenting on the efforts in the UAE, Dr. Al Amiri added that the UAE Ministry of Health received 388 alerts of adverse drug reactions in 2014 as part of their comprehensive efforts to ensure high safety standards in the country. Increased knowledge, extensive monitoring efforts and evaluation of causes were identified as key preventive measures.
The health professionals and the health authorities must be always active and active and active. It was 388 alerts during 2014, and this is an indication that the PV, which is Pharmacovigilance Committee, are with direct contact with international pharmaceutical organizations such as FDA in the state or EMEA in Europe, and also the rest of organizations, to make sure that we receive, as soon as we receive the alerts for any sort of medicines or food supplements with a medical claim, that we notify the health authorities, the private, the governmental hospitals, the health centers, the health clinics, all the private pharmacies, which is almost close to 3,500 pharmacies, about such ADR, which is alerts concerning the drug at the level of the country, and to make sure that those notification receives everyone electronically, and to protect our patients from any adverse reaction for the drug immediately.
It's knowledge, it's education. I mean, we have all to produce a lot of efforts and collaborate with the authorities to further educate the key stakeholders, namely, of course, physicians and pharmacists, but more importantly as well the patient. They must be aware that there are tools available for them to register and recognize the side effects of the product that they are using, and among them, of course, the online tools that is using actively in the UAE, for example.
In July 2015, health authorities from around the region launched the new Common Arab Guidelines to help institutions follow safety referral procedures and implement risk management plans. According to a representative from Uppsala Monitoring Centre, they received more than 100 pharmacovigilance reports from the UAE this year, adding that the new guidelines should enhance participation from other countries around the region.
You might think that an increase in adverse events is actually a bad thing, more adverse events occurring. But we know that with any pharmaceutical product, we will have adverse drug events. And if there are none observed, then you aren't looking close enough. So it's actually important that we capture the local data and not just the imported data from the United States or from Europe, but that we actually look in this region, and specifically in Dubai and in the Emirates. And there will be reports, but that's a good thing.
More areas in Dubai are likely to have a residential parking system as the Roads and Transport Authority carries out a study on the feasibility of the project. The RTA introduced a residential parking permit system in the Al Manqul area in June to ensure free parking in the neighbourhood is not exploited by commercial vehicles. The system requires residents in free parking areas to acquire residential permits to park their vehicles overnight outside their homes or in parking spots on the roadside. Following the successful implementation of Phase 1 of the residential permit scheme, the RTA is now studying the feasibility of the system in other residential areas. The areas under study have seen an increasing presence of commercial vehicles, making it exceedingly difficult for residents to find a parking spot at night. Under the system, the parking permits can be applied online through the RTA call centre and RTA mobile app, as well as by visiting RTA's customer service centres. In Al Manqul, applications are accepted only from family accommodations, which should be supported by a title deed or an attested tenancy agreement in order to be issued with a residential parking permit. Dubai Municipality has launched an initiative for domestic pets in the Emirate, allowing pet owners to benefit from the municipality's veterinary clinic services. A new application was launched as a platform for pet owners to acquire the proper pet care under municipal regulations. Through mobile phones, owners can use the application to facilitate announcements of lost or found pets and run pet information via public and private clinics. The application digitises information and history of the type of pet owned and increases transparency of information between all public and private clinics. The municipality is also hoping that the initiative will reduce illegal export, import and sale of pets by applying stricter rules and regulations for public safety. Finally, in the bulletin, the global Finding Balance campaign held its Dubai summit yesterday, bringing together women and young people to join a global conversation about empowerment and balance. With the objective of creating a society of equality and opportunity, the Roundtable Global campaign is setting out to educate and inspire while stressing the importance of balance and redefining how to exist in the global ecosystem. Additionally, organisers stated that the summits are less of a conference and more of an inspirational mix of presentation, conversation, imagination exercises and commitment to action, with a new generation of young people leading the conversation about how and what change should happen, while presenting their ideas to key influencers, leaders and policymakers.
So we're here today for the Finding Balance Summit, which is one of 3 that we're running as a pilot this year. So we've just come back from Tokyo, obviously Dubai, and then we're running one in the House of Commons in London. And the whole concept behind the Finding Balance initiative is about creating balance in the world. So rather than just looking at equality for women, we're looking to create cultures and communities that are empowering for everybody.
Dennis Murphy, the co-founder for the Roundtable group, was the one that inspired me the most, because his exercise was just phenomenal, and he really put me in a position where I could control myself and control my mental being and just be myself.
Alongside the summit is the Legacy Project, which coaches and mentors hundreds of young people, enabling them to have a voice and deliver positive projects. In addition, the Shine program aims to empower women to further understand self-limiting beliefs and create fearless cultures, both at work and at home, where men and women can tap into their leadership energies for creativity and transformation. Nominees participating in Shine and the Global Summits commit to responsible female leadership and embark on a 3-month journey, joining the growing alumni of inspirational and influential women around the world.
The Shine programme is an initiative that we started to look at balance in the workplace and also in the personal life. So bringing those 2 together and just looking at the person as a whole and looking at the balance of masculine and feminine within themselves and then how that displays in the workplace. And predominantly imagination, play, creativity, but then also looking at how do we reflect, how do we see ourselves in space and with other people? How do we as individuals understand who we are and how we're interacting with other people?